Today down in the comments, I want to know what is your favorite short horror film, and bonus points if it is available to watch legally online either through YouTube or Vimeo, and another set of bonus points if you can provide us with a link. Hello, I'm Adam Cesare, and this is Project Black T-Shirt, the channel where we take a new or a reissue horror movie and pair it with a book that you will enjoy if you like that movie. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to see more horror movie reviews and book pairings. Today we're going to be talking about Ari Aster's second feature, MIDSOMMAR. This is just out in theaters, just about to come out in theaters. I saw a screening of it last night, and I was completely blown away by it. I really, really liked it. We'll talk about how it compares to Aster's other work, his short films, his other movie, HEREDITARY. But first I want to say that this is a non-spoiler review as best I can. I'm not going to talk about the exact ending. I'm not going to try not to talk too much about the later second act. You should know that this is probably a movie where you can have bigger moments spoiled for you. So if you don't want to know stuff like that, if you want to kind of preserve the surprise and just want to know whether it's good or not, it's good. You should go see it and maybe come back and watch this review. So MIDSOMMAR is about a young couple, 20-somethings, played by Florence Pugh and Jack Rayner. And at the beginning of the movie, you kind of see like the beginning of the end of this relationship. Florence Pugh's character, Danny, is kind of looking for something in this boyfriend that she has that maybe this boyfriend's not able to provide, not willing to provide. And Jack Rayner's character is just kind of looking for a way out. The movie opens strong. The movie opens depressing. The movie opens tonally similar to Ari Aster's other feature, HEREDITARY, where something terrible and tragic and calamitous happens to Danny, and through that kind of tragedy, this couple decides to stay together, and there's like not really an exit strategy for this guy. And we flash forward a little bit of time. He's an anthropologist. He's a PhD candidate, and he's going on this trip to Sweden to observe a kind of quaint midsummer celebration with his Swedish classmate with a couple of his other friends. And it's supposed to be like a guy's trip. But through like a bunch of kind of awkward interactions and should he invite or should he not, Danny kind of ends up coming along on this trip. And that's the beginning of the movie. That's the setup. They go to this remote place in the north of Sweden. It's kind of cloak and dagger. It's this commune that is very secretive of its practices, but they're inviting these people in, and everything seems beautiful and idyllic and incredibly bright. And then things, because this is a horror film, things start to go horribly wrong. Now, this movie screened a week or two ago, and they did like a simulcast interview with the director Ari Aster, and he introduced the film by saying, I wrote this movie while I was going through a breakup. I'm better now, and everyone kind of giggled, and they played the film. So far, still a week away from release, but a lot of reviewers and bloggers and stuff have seen the film, and that's kind of becoming the main like through line there, where people are talking about this movie as like the ultimate breakup movie, or like the breakup abroad movie, which is correct, right? It is a correct reading of the film. It's very much a text-based reading of the film. It's very much not even subtext. It's pretty much just text, and the movie handles that aspect of it beautifully. But I think to just say that this is like this is a breakup movie is to ignore the fact that this is like a 2-hour plus, very meaty, very intelligent film, which has a lot to say. It's not just I would say it's not just a breakup movie. It is a movie about traditions of violence. It is a movie about anthropological studies where we're looking at how Americans are now. We get like kind of a panoply of examples of American behavior and American excess through the friend characters, where we've got the good PhD student played by William Jackson Harper from The Good Place, who plays Chidi in The Good Place, playing a very similar character here, almost to the point where it's like you clearly cast him because we have this shorthand with him as Chidi, as a likable guy. But he's like the good PhD student who's just taking notes and is fascinated by everything that's going on, almost to the point where he's like rude. He's watching this midsummer celebration. There's this group of like 100 or so Swedes in this little community, in this idyllic, rural, bucolic farming community. And he's always wanting to take pictures, and he's always asking, he's always pushing a little bit further than these people are willing to go to share what their practices are and what they want to share with the world. Then you've got Will Poulter's character, who's kind of the comic relief, even though there's comedy all over this film, and it's not restricted to Will Poulter. And I think that's another thing about this movie, where people are going to talk about how disturbing it is and how crazy it is and how messed up it is. Like all of Aster's work, it is all those things, but there's a lot of laughs in it, and it's kind of sick and it's kind of weird, and he has this goofy sensibility where he can be very serious and very goofy at the same time and not completely undercut the seriousness with goofiness. And it's a rare talent as a filmmaker, and I think there's a lot of people that try to do it and it doesn't work, but it definitely works in this movie. But the Will Poulter character is almost the traditional horror movie slacker character. The first thing they do when they arrive is they're like in this beautiful field, and then it's kind of interrupted by a plume of vape just coming out of the side of his mouth, and you kind of get that character right then, and what he represents about, I guess, like the ugly American stereotype or the Americans abroad stereotype. And then you have this couple at the center of the film that are used to kind of dissect different things, not just about like the anthropological interplay between these two cultures, and the tragedy in Danny's background kind of comes up as like, this is a very modern, very American way for people to die. And then later in the film we see a very traditional way for people to die. What I'm trying to say is the film has so much more going on than its breakup subplot, than its breakup through line, which is handled amazingly well. I saw this movie with my wife, and it is one of those movies where it's either going to be a great date movie because it's going to bring you closer together with your significant other, or it's going to make you be like, ugh. And that's a testament to the film that it can do that. Ari Aster's last movie, Hereditary, or last feature film, Hereditary, was a movie that I didn't do a video about. I think I might have mentioned it in one of the videos that I saw it. I thought it was great. I liked it. I didn't completely love it. I know that the Twitter and the internet in general kind of went crazy over it. It was a movie where my initial takeaway was, okay, this is great. This is impeccably made. This is immaculately made. The performances are amazing. The direction's incredible. But it seemed to be, or at least to me, picking and choosing kind of the best parts of my favorite movies from the last 10 years and putting them in one movie. So it felt kind of a little bit like a blender movie. It was like a little bit Kill List, a little bit Dark Song, a little bit X, Y, and Z. Midsommar does not feel that way at all to me. Midsommar is being marketed as a folk horror movie, which it definitely is to an extent. It is a Wicker Man type thing, but it's got a lot more going on than that, and it has a lot more in common with stuff like even like the Americans Abroad subgenre, like Hostel, or the like don't go into the woods subgenre of like city versus rural, even though this is like more international than that. This is like America versus Europe. But this is a movie where Hereditary used its runtime to tell a relatively simple story, and I don't think this is really a bad thing about the movie, but the movie sets up like what's going on, and I feel like the audience is so far ahead of some of the characters in that film, and you kind of that's almost like a feature, not a bug, where it's like this fate set in stone. It is inevitable. Like this, you know that the last 15 minutes of this movie is going to be a bloodbath because of the first 15 minutes of the movie. And a lot of Aster's work is like that. If you haven't seen his short films, they're very, very good, and they're on his website, or most of them are on his website. He has links to YouTube and Vimeo. If you start with The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, which is a movie that kind of went viral in a way, and then you move through his work, they all have that kind of, it tells you the joke in the beginning, and then the rest of it is almost like the punchline. Midsommar starts to do that, and Midsommar feels like it's going to do that, and then it keeps taking just enough of turns where maybe everything that's happening was telegraphed, maybe everything that's going to happen was set up, but there's just enough variation in how things play out that I found myself constantly surprised. And if the theater that we saw it in was any surprise, the amount of gas, the amount of people just like whispering the word like Jesus into their hands. Like the movie works on that level. The movie works on a shock level. This is a film put out by A24. There is this kind of I don't know, in Facebook groups and where horror people talk. There does seem to be this kind of, on the one hand, the people that really like these films, a certain level of elitism of like, if you didn't like it, you didn't get it. If you didn't like this movie, you're just dumb and you just want, you know, go put in Jason Takes Manhattan and enjoy yourself, pal. Like you're a real meat and potatoes guy. And then there is the pushback to that, which is also, I feel like, wrong, where there are people that think these movies are boring or think these movies are pretentious. There is that like that kind of like culture war within horror where A24 kind of seems to be emblematic of a certain kind of art horror or a certain kind of elevated genre, not my term. And MIDSOMMAR is the movie that completely seems to blow both of those arguments out of the water, because it is this very artful film. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely incredible. The color palette of this movie, you like, even though horrific things are happening, you just like, it still has that kind of siren call of the movie where you're like, after the movie's over and you know a lot of people are dead, and just kind of like, I'd go to Sweden. Like that, it looks nice. It still looks nice. It still looks cool. But there is that art to it, and it is a for lack of a better term, highbrow film. But what's great about it is it moves. It's a 2-hour something movie that is never boring. That is always filled with dread. That doesn't save its payoff for the very like final minutes. It's not like a slow burn film where it's a slow burn film that's badly structured, where it's just build up, and then 10 minutes worth of things that people are going to make gifs of for the rest of horror movie eternity. There are gifable moments all the way through this thing, and they happen with surprising regularity. So it's one of those movies where I kind of know there's going to be a blowback to it, because there always is when there's like a popular horror film, and especially when there's a popular horror film that's going to be a hit with like mainstream critics, which I'm sure this will be because it's a good film. It's the performances are unbelievable. Florence Pugh is her emotions are so big that like Ari Aster's camera basically turns her into like a human emoji. She's so good in the movie. But this is going to be a movie that a lot of people like, and then there's going to be that pushback of like vocal detractors. But it's just hard for me to imagine where they're like what they're even going to say about it, because it's so damn good. Like it gives it's got something for everyone, unless you I don't know, unless you're really turned off by it, unless you're really like kind of sickened by it, which again, why you shouldn't even be on this channel, man. This is a movie that really delivers, and as I said, it's a movie that was so good it makes me want to go back and watch Hereditary again, because I'm like wait a second, was I missing that is a great movie? Because this is a great movie, but it's the highest compliment I can give it. It makes me want to watch the director's other work. Today's book recommendation, we're going to go really on the nose with our pick. This is Ritualistic Human Sacrifice by C.V. Hunt. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in one of my other videos, but it was a while ago, so if this is a repeat, sorry. This book literally should come with a warning label. It is disgusting. It is a really gross extreme horror novel. Unlike a lot of extreme horror novels where they're just shock for shock's sake, C.V. Hunt, she is awesome. She's an awesome author and publisher. She's associated with Grindhouse Press, but this book is gross for a reason, and it's got a real deadpan, funny narration and real funny kind of. It's narrated by like a real scumbag character, and he gets what's coming to him throughout the book. It is not for the faint of heart. It is not for younger readers. It is a book about ritualistic human sacrifice that does not skimp beyond the title. If you'd like to find out more about me or my books, since it's summertime, perfect for summer reading, the summer job, these are all available online. They are available as audiobooks as well. You can find the link down below. Sign up for my mailing list where I'll send you a free sample. Make sure you like it before you buy it. And just subscribe and go watch more videos if you enjoyed this. I'll see you next week.